2023, dude.
2023, my man.
What has it been? What? I came to Dallas first time in 2010,
Damn, 13 years ago.
13 years ago. Your kids weren't even born.
I just got married.
That's right.
When you came to Dallas, I think we had been married like a year.
Oh, really?
Because we got married in 2009. July 2009 is when we got married. And you came kind of the summer-ish
Yeah.
of 2010.
2010.
Yeah, kids weren't born until 2015.
You know, I remember this funny story when you were dropping me at the airport. If you remember this, we went to a staff meeting that morning. I spoke for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're telling me all the cool things about Dallas and how fun. It's like the drivers are really nice. As you're telling me that these two guys are fighting in front of us, trying to hit each other with the car.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
I remember laughing so hard just about, I'm like, oh, dang. They're like trying to hit each other.
I remember that. They were like swerving at each other.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That was the funniest thing. You know, I was actually in Houston recently. That was brutal.
Yeah, it's
It must be the worst state the worst part of the country in terms of just awareness of each other on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
People will go out of their way to inconvenience you just
Yes.
because you're trying to merge into the lane.
It's ridiculous.
I'm just like,
I know.
I'm just trying to go my way, man.
That's the thing, like, what do they say? Like, when you get on an intersection, I'm sure there's probably some good life metaphor for this, or they call it, like, the zipper method.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when there's, like, two lanes that are merging. It's supposed to be, like, one car, one car,
Right.
like a zipper, and you can all just get in
Right.
together.
You did that basic knowledge.
Nobody wants to do the zipper method, bro. If we could find a way to implement the zipper method in life, things would be so much easier.
Well, isn't that whole thing of me first? Kind of me, myself, and I?
Yeah.
You know, I've always wondered where it comes from. I mean, United States is a country that, at least from my perspective, it's a place where I come first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I think it was intended from a good place. When you're in an airplane, they tell you
Put your mask on.
Put your mask on first.
Right. But I think but putting your mask on first is solely for the purpose so that you don't die before you can help someone.
Right.
Cutting someone off in traffic is not putting yourself first so that you can get in traffic so that they'll have a spot.
Right. I think people take that and kind of just, you know, I mean, we live in a stage in life where my truth is all that matters. My reality is what.
Do you think all of that can be, we're like making gross generalizations, but like, can all of that be whittled down to like the areas by which we as humans tend to be the most aggressive about ourselves are potentially the areas where we also feel the highest level of scarcity?
That's very true, because, you know, I could speak to a point where, you know, even in Zambia, for example, this was common in Africa, when there's food on the table, it's a dogfight. You know, and eating with the desperation of not knowing when the next meal will come, which is a reality. So in that sense, where self-preservation kicks in, no matter how kind you are, how nice you are, how loving you are towards each other, but when there is that meal,
well, then I think you start, and then not to say that in America there are not plenty of people who struggle with food, finances, things like that, right? Like, we're not going to make a comparison between food in America and Zambia. I'm not. You can. I've never experienced it. You have experienced it. You can say that. I won't say that.
Fair enough.
Right, and I think there's a part though that, again, but it comes down to, let's go talk about traffic. So why in America is traffic something where most people are like, screw you, I'm gonna get in my lane and I'm not gonna let you in. I'm guilty of it.
Right.
Like I want to be a person who's like, just let them over, and like, I don't know. I would like to believe a majority of the time, 51% of the time, I let you in. Right. Just like I'll be okay. There are also plenty of times that I'm like, nah, bro. Like, especially if there's one lane that gets over, and we're backed up 58 cars, and then this car goes all the way to the very end and then cuts somebody at the back when they're not paying attention to the last second.
See that.
Okay, but now here's the deal. Because I feel like I have an appreciation for both. I have an appreciation for the person who's in the lane because they're in the lane because that's the lane they want to be in. And they're willing to wait because they got in the right lane. I'm also feel like though, I can get on the side of the person who goes to the very front. And when someone's not paying attention on their phone, and I can get over and get in, and part of me is I'm just being efficient. I mean, I'm just being smart.
That's very true. I mean, I think that both can be true at the same time, though, right? Where I've been in the place where, I look at, there's an opportunity here. Nobody's taking it. I'm going to go get it. Many times where there's an open lane and there's lane that backed up, hardly moving. You can just go, sometimes you go and bid for a driver who's willing to let you in.
Right.
Sometimes there's always one that will let you in. If not, you have to force your way in, and that's a whole thing too.
Yep.
So I think it's, I don't know, it's kind of how the U.S. economics work. I think it's about the more you know, the more wealthy you'll become. The more you know the whole loopholes, the more financially free you will become. And it's your fault for not knowing that.
I think I saw something recent. I'm going to butcher it. I'm sure somebody out there on the Grams would be able to tell us who quoted who said it. But I think basically the gist of what he said is he was the most expensive thing, the most costly thing in your life is the information you have yet to go figure out and know.
Right.
So it was something to that degree, but I think it goes along with what you're saying. Is there's things I'm supposed to know.
Right. And even,
or maybe not even supposed to. There's things that I could know. And if I don't know them and somebody else knows them, if you don't know that it's okay to go in the other lane.
Right.
And then get over and you save 9 minutes, then you lost 9 minutes.
Right.
If that's how you want to view it. Right? And if you don't know you can do that and you don't do it, you just get in line. So I think with anything you and I are going to come up with, or we talk about or argue, we're both are able to see both. Well, hopefully we help each other always see. We help each other both see both sides all the time, right? Because in one part, I'm there are days that I just get in the lane at the very back because I don't want to think about it. I'll get there when I get there.
And I think that's also really speaks to the state of mind. I mean, sometimes
if I'm not in a rush, I've got 20 minutes to spare. Get in the lane.
But there's always that guy that you don't want them to win.
Right. And why? Why is there always a person we don't want to win?
I think we hate injustice in the end when people don't play by the rules. There is that innate knee-jerk reaction, if you will, that will go out of a way to inconvenience them. At least letting them know that that's not okay, dude.
Yeah.
And those kind of people sometimes I find it just rubs me, and I walk away thinking, why am I so frustrated with that? It didn't. I had a minute to take away from my life, but it's the intent of.
Yeah. Why do we want to show that person what they deserve? All of a sudden, we become the bearers of what someone deserves.
Right.
You got in line too quick. I'm going to show you.
And I think that's kind of where. That's why we love watching bad people die in movies, because they are taking when they shouldn't, or when I think the most things that we hate is when somebody knows the rules but still violates them.
I think that is probably the most accurate part of what we're trying to get at.
Yeah. And
let's bring it back to traffic. It's that we believe there is a standard set of rules we have all agreed to abide by being on this road together.
Right.
And you have opted.
Hello?
Yeah, we're with you. There's a standard set of rules that we all abide by.
Right.
You have opted to not abide by. As a matter of fact, not only are you not abiding by them, you are willfully showing everybody else that you do not care about those rules.
Right.
And so because of that, you're now going to try to offend all of us by...
Right. Oh, wow.
I don't know what's happening.
I think the biggest thing for me, it's especially when I became a dad, when I'm driving, your action and you being selfish or not thinking about others is putting my child's life in danger. You know, and that doesn't need to happen. You know, and a lot of those things I think that's what gets me angry, where
it now includes somebody else.
And your action or lack thereof is impacting, could be fatal. You know, so those are the things when I think about traffic. But then again, you talk about why are we having so much traffic issues? Why cities like New York have systems where you don't need a car to go everywhere. You know, it could be argued either way. It's like, well, I love being in my car. I like my space, and I hate being trapped like sardines in trains. This whole conversation you can have about that, but it's something to be said of who thought of the idea, or did they actually thought it through. When in LA, for example, there was a bus system, there was a transportation system that was brought up by, I'm not sure which kind of company, they bought it all and shut it down. So people had no choice but to start buying cars. Now LA is trapped. There's no way you can go. There's few only points where you can take public transportation. Even that, it's just so inconvenient. And so you kind of wondered who came up with that idea? Was it just for profit, or did they really think that? You know, I think we build things with good intentions in mind, but I don't know, like everything else in life that dies.
Yeah. Well, I think it's, if we think about it like us personally, we tend to solve the problem. We tend to most often be in a position to solve the problems that are most current in front of us.
That's true.
And because of that, and I think add on that to that equation a component where we believe that we also need to be growing upward and to the right always.
Right.
So you add, I gotta grow all the time. I gotta be growing all the time. And rarely do we give ourselves the real freedom of like 1% a day, right? Like what's the phrase? You get 1% better every day.
Yeah.
So like in the grand scheme of things, 1% better every day over a year, then you'll be 300%. Yeah, whatever the thing is. Okay, great. I can get behind that, you know. But 1% better where? How? In every category? 1% better everywhere? Or if I have 10 categories, I'm going to get one of those categories 1% better every day. So actually, over the course of not 100 days, am I 100% better? Over 100 days, I am incrementally 10% better everywhere. Right? Like we got to break them. We got to figure out what 1% are we doing and how many categories. Our equation gets convoluted. But if that's the desire of what we want to pursue, and we're told and we're pitched, and we got to do it and grow, and we got to I can get behind all that. There are real problems I'm facing today that I need to fix today. And so if there's an issue that I can't get someplace and we need to get there, then we can get a bus that can get us there. Awesome, that solves my problem today.
Right.
But when there's 1,000 people that need a bus and the bus seats 50, that bus is no longer a solution because we didn't actually think about the fact that our problem was going to be exponential once it went on. So whether it's, we're using transportation as our example. I don't know why we're talking so much about cars today, but we are. But I think in that, to come back to I don't know, I think it even makes me, there are a lot of days that I think, what does it mean to get better? What does it mean to grow? If there's a book in true Rocky fashion, I cannot think of the name of it. I'll think of it at some point, but it's about around growth mindset, right? And like the idea is that we have a growth mindset,
right.
Even in our kids. How do we encourage our kids to have a growth mindset, to want more and to try hard things and to see if they can believe more and do more? But is that constant? Is growth always?
I think it's both and. I think it can be always, even when we want it or not. Or, like one recent thing that my son has been saying, he's 4 years old. It's like, Daddy, I want to be big like you.
Yeah.
He's never say that. It's like, he said a couple times, enough. I'm like, that's interesting, And I'm looking myself in the mirror. I'm just not satisfied with what I'm
Right.
seeing.
Right.
But he sees the complete image
Yes.
of me, which is
Yes.
the weirdest thing.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
We look in the mirror and I'm like, yo, I gotta work out some more.
Yeah.
And my son, same as you, my son's 7. He sees me and he's like, dude, you can pick up anything.
That's
You
so
know?
cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And he's like, yesterday we were riding bikes yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's learned, he's been able to ride a bike, but now he's like got a big boy bike. He's riding, he can stop, he can start, he can
Right.
crash, he can. And so we were going over these little speed bumps on our street. And so, you know, me being old and 40 and on a bike, how can you help yourself? You pedal a little faster, you try to do a little jump over a
Right.
speed bump, right? And he's like, how did you do that? When did you learn to do that? I'm like, learn to do what? And he's like, you jumped. How did you learn to jump? You know, it's like,
It's the thing-
I was 2.5 inches off the ground. Let's be very clear about what it was, you know? But like in his mind, that was like unbelievable.
Right.
You can ride a bike, not crash, and you can jump speed bumps,
It's,
you know? And
it's-
so,
yeah, it's just mind blowing to me how much. I don't know. It comes back to that circle of how do I learn to be content.
yep.
You know, I think I posted something on Facebook, on Instagram today, quote by Plato, something along the lines of, you know, our goal in life is to want more, but to live with less.
Yep.
To want less.
Yeah. Yeah, the goal in life is not to get more, but in fact to be able to live with less.
Live-
Something like that.
yeah.
I saw what you posted, yeah.
So that in itself, I've been pondering about that over the last couple of days. You know, I've lived with nothing. You know, we own 2 cars. We live in a beautiful apartment. You know, it's just really interesting where I think about where I was.
Yeah.
You know, homeless, chilling at a train station, hoping to get out of there somehow.
Yeah.
For weeks. And now I'm here and, you know, I'm finding things wrong in my apartment. I don't have enough money. I want that house now. I want this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just really interesting how I lose perspective about, you know, not to be great, not that I'm not grateful for what I have,
Sure.
but talking about growth because it's nature that calls us. You've overgrown this space. You
Yeah.
kind of have to move
Yeah.
on. Jones was in a crib for a while,
Yep.
and he came to a point where his body
It's too big.
is too big for it, and we needed to find a bigger bed. And so it's just really interesting on what's the balance of, okay, this is where I was 10 years ago.
Yep.
This is where I am today. But this is where I want to be in the
Yep.
next 10 years.
Yep.
And
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they're in all of that, there is definitely a you know, if we're able to give ourselves an opportunity to take a step back and look and like, man, wherever we are right now is where we dreamed of being 3 years ago.
right. And that's a hard thing for me to celebrate sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to, you know, I haven't arrived.
That's
I
right.
don't,
That's
I don't,
right.
you know, I used to be envious of, back in the days, kids that were around my age and older who were just so confident. You know, I think it was an American thing too. When I moved here, everybody was so certain about what they did and what they believed. Even when it was,
Yeah, even they were young.
even when they're young, you know, even when some of the things, you know, it's like, that sounds like BS, but maybe I'm wrong because you sound so confident.
That's right.
Maybe I don't know.
That's right.
You know, it made you second guess yourself because everybody was so certain. And I mean, there's a lot to say about that being problematic when
Yep.
people are, you know, way off the mark and
Yep.
they believe that's the right way to go.
Yeah, yeah, and I think there's a lot of people that I feel like I've experienced over the course of my life, and
Right.
maybe even a lot of people that I've experienced recently in the recent few years, that I think those that I find that are most free are the ones who hold tight to the fewest convictions.
That's very true.
And that doesn't mean they don't have them, right? It's not. I'm not saying they have a limited belief,
right?
But it's the ones that they choose. I was talking to some friends, and that some friends have in a Slack channel, and somebody made the comment about how did they phrase it? They were like, they were asked I think it was at work. They were asked a question in one of their like breakout sessions, in their morning meeting was. What is the smallest hill that you're willing to die on? Like it's like an inverse of like the biggest hill.
Right.
Everybody has this big soapbox thing that we're like, I'll die. Yeah, I'm never letting that go.
Right.
But like the point was like, what's the really really tiny thing that you're like is the one that you're like, you know what? And there were some of the responses were like really funny of things that you're like, oh, that is so annoying, but the people are like, that's the one for me.
Right.
But I think the ones that I find that have the ability to, I don't even know the right word, if they express the highest level of stoicism. I don't exactly know even the words to put, but those that maybe ultimately the ones that I see that seem to be experiencing the most peace amidst chaos tend to be people who adhere to a smaller list of convictions, but those convictions are the ones that the roots are 100 feet deep.
That is true. I mean, isn't that the whole thing that why people get so wound up? Because when you challenge one of the core beliefs,
yeah,
because the roots are not that deep, so
Yep.
the fear of if I reject my belief and accept yours, that means my whole identity is messed
Correct.
up.
Correct.
It's like, where is my north? Where's
Yep.
my true north?
Yeah.
And sometimes when this ideological conversation about abortion and Christianity and left government, the right government, and all those things that we have in conversation about, I think we are talking about everything but the actual issue.
100%.
And but because people are just, we want to win conversation, we're not interested in solving them.
That's right. And I would even say one thing that I feel like for me I have to be really aware of is like, am I even attempting to have a conversation?
Right.
Am I actually listening? Do I actually want to know what that person thinks? Like I think there's, and I feel like, and I'm sure most of us do, but like I feel like I've got a good swath of friend group. Like if we were going to divide people into sides, right? Like I feel like I got and really the reality is we're all much more alike than we think we are. No, that's not what we're here though. So like in beliefs on all those places, like got a good swath.
Right.
And so I feel like it's been about a year or so ago, and it was Rick, because my wife challenged me to say like, hey, do you have a good variety of people that you follow? Whether that's news sources, that's social platforms, that's whatever it is. Like, are you seeing a good wide range of things, right? Because I think our ability to do that, like, I got to be able to listen and pay attention to things that I definitely disagree with.
Right.
Like I want why because somebody out there really thinks that, and I am learning. I want to be more curious. Why do they think that? How do they think that? Because somewhere in my experience, I missed it. I missed something. I didn't see what you saw, and therefore, like, there's a conviction I don't have, or there's a belief I haven't seen. There's and you seem to believe it deeply. So I want to know why. Not because I want to prove you wrong. I used to want to do that because I don't want to prove you wrong.
Right.
I want to know why because I want to better understand what there's something I'm missing altogether. Right? Has to be something I'm missing.
Was that, I don't know, say this, it's always good to listen to people you don't agree with.
Yeah.
Because most of the time there is something that you have to learn from them.
Yep.
And then it's hard to, it's really hard to be deeply rooted in your conviction, because that allows you the freedom to be open to anything that comes your way. And I don't have to align my beliefs with this, but I'm going to listen. We can have a conversation about it. We are in a place where I think we need to listen to each other more.
Yeah.
And try to understand better. People speak, we're all kind of wounded in one way or the other, so we speak from those experiences, and that's sometimes not even a true reflection of.
But I think about how often we say, oh man, I shouldn't say we. I think how often I say, like, the reason I think this is because I experienced this. Like, so my belief is based on some level of my knowledge and my experience.
Right.
Therefore, if I can't see your side, it's got to either be due to lack of knowledge, it's a lack of experience, or my own ignorance. right? And I use the phrase "my own ignorance" as opposed to saying lack of knowledge, because it is in fact my own ignorance. I literally don't know, but it's so much easier to say, no, it's not that I don't know; it's that you don't know what I've experienced. So like I'm unwilling most of the time. I find that I am unwilling to say, hey, tell me more about the way that you see that, think about that, do that, because I'm dumb, I'm ignorant, I don't know. I've never thought about that once in my life.
But you know what? Sometimes what's hard about that, it's like even sometimes I'm having conversation with certain people. They want you to acknowledge things a certain way.
For sure.
And if you don't, that means you oppose them.
For sure.
And so the whole time, it's almost like you're having two different conversations.
Yep. But again, I think that's also in part because the intent of the conversation was not actually for me to hear you.
Right.
The intent of the conversation was for me to tell you what I think.
That is very true.
And I feel like I've had a lot of conversations. People in my family, people that I love, I see often. And I've literally had to stop the conversation and say, hold on a second. We are no longer talking to each other. We are talking at each other. And we can't hear each other anymore. So let's take a break. I love you. As a matter of fact, I love you so much. We got to be done. Because our voices have gotten more intense, higher frequency, higher elevated in volume, because we stopped listening. We stopped listening to what the other person was saying. So I'm going to listen now, but I need a break because I even forgot what we were talking about. Because I'm just trying to prove to you why I think I'm right.
And I've seen this a lot, even some of my friends, you know. I think we're doing a work thing. He was having an argument with somebody, and he was clearly in the wrong, but he didn't want to lose that conversation.
Yep.
So his voice got louder and louder, and then their voice got louder, and it got to a point where it's like,
what are we doing?
What are we doing here?
Yep.
It's like, so what?
Yep.
Who cares if they think certain things?
Yep.
I mean, we all have gone through those people where you know when somebody is not judging you correctly.
Yep.
It sucks. It feels.
Yep.
You know, it's like that guy passing you on the freeway
Yep.
when they shouldn't. It's the same feeling, right?
Yep.
And learning, I think, this whole thing about control and how. You know, I think in myself I have to learn how to search for the silver lining in all of it, where it's like, what's my heel? Where do I die on this issue? When somebody, how far does it have to go before I completely compromise myself? Because I'm capable of that at any given time. Which
I think then at that point, then it's going to come full circle, and you and I talk about this a lot. Like at that point, then it's going to come full circle back to the question, what do you want? Because now
that's very true.
If I can't answer what I want, then I can't really then align with what I think I believe, which means I can't really dive into my conviction, which means then at that point, if I don't have a deep conviction, then I don't actually know what I'm fighting for anymore, because I don't actually know what I want anymore. Because I don't, right? And we can go down that road. We could drive that.
It's a downhill spiral.
At that point, we should stop now because we're never going to get out of that hole.
Right.
But I think even for me, you know, like we talk about you and I, and we're advocates of the daily ledger and writing our goals down and things like that. Like I recently have adjusted or adopted a couple of different affirmations, a couple of different condensed some goals together, got rid of some because I'm like, I don't know why I'm writing this down. I don't actually want that. And then what I even started doing now was I've got 6 affirmations and I've got 10 goals. I write those things down every day. And so at the end of every goal, I write down what number of my affirmations does it go with. So to because the 2 that I got rid of, I couldn't attach it. Like I couldn't attach that goal to something I believed about who I was. It was just a goal. Well, then what's the point? It has nothing to do with me. I just wrote it down because I thought I was supposed to, right? So my very first affirmation I write down every day is I'm a loving and intentional husband and father. My first goal is I encourage, empower, and serve my wife and kids. Mm-hmm. So 1 and 1. Next to that goal, I write number 1 because that, right?
Yeah.
My second affirmation, I'm abundantly wealthy and extremely generous. I write down. That's who I am. Mm-hmm. No matter how much money I have, I'm abundantly wealthy and extremely generous. And then my next 2 goals I write down are financial goals. I want to be worth this much money. I want to make this much income. I want to have this much in real estate because that aligns with being abundantly wealthy and extremely generous. and then work. And so I know we've gone from traffic, merging
no.
traffic all the way to this, but
I flung with it.
Like I think we've come back to this because for me, I keep over and over and over. I attempt to always like bring myself back to what do I want and what, because I am in control of that. I am. I really believe that I am. Am I fortunate that I get to feel in control of that? Yes. Am I fortunate that I have the opportunity to be in the position I am in life? Absolutely. Is there a high level of privilege I've experienced and not have to do things in life? Yes. All of that is absolutely true. So part of me is like, therefore, I better be really clear about what I want, because I can. Why do I want to? I don't want to waste that. I don't want to waste the fact that I can.
That's so hard. It's so hard to clarify what you want.
You're not wrong.
I think, I mean, as you're talking, I'm like playing in my head what I've been writing every day. And I'm like, oh crap, I gotta clarify that.
Yep.
Because I'm so used to living from a place of vague state of mind, if that's a thing, where we kind of just guessing your way around.
Yeah.
You're kind of just waiting for life to happen.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed that it's like I'm in control of most of my morning. I have this to do, I have a workout to do, and I know I'm going to find a way to work out. If I have an work thing to do, I'll, until a certain point where I'm just like, okay, I didn't plan for this.
Yep.
No, and I've realized it's just hit me where I'm realizing that I'm so exhausted for the half of the day because I'm aimless.
Yep. Yes. I literally just had a conversation this morning where someone's like, they're like, how you doing? I'm like, I am making sure that I'm full. My calendar's full. Because if it's not full, I didn't say busy, okay? I didn't say busy on purpose. I'm not talking about being busy. Busy means somebody, in my life, busy means somebody else chose it.
Right.
Full means I chose it. I need my life to be full. I need my day to be full. Because that keeps me out of my head. That keeps me out of the pondering, wondering, what if space. I don't need to be in that space.
Right.
I don't need to do that to myself. It is a bad idea.
I get very destructive.
Right? Like being in that space is a bad idea. It's downhill quick. I don't want to be there. So I need to be really thoughtful about what I'm choosing. And I do get to be in control of what I'm choosing.
Right.
Even if it means I'm at home with a kid. Even if it means somebody is sick. Even if it means I still get to choose what I'm going to do with that. And who I'm going to talk to. And what I'm going to listen to. And what I'm going to read. And
that makes a lot of sense. I think that's something that it just hit me. I'm like, I need to be crystal clear about what I want every day. And that, that's why I'm like, I'm writing. So why am I feeling so aimless? And I've noticed that it's from like 1 p.m. if I don't have anything going on, I have a schedule.
Yep.
It's like, even if I know there's all this stuff I need to be doing. I need to be doing writing. I need to be doing research on certain things. And I haven't done any of those things because I haven't written them down. What do you want?
And I think that question can be asked at any increment, like any increment in our life, right? That